Thanks for joining us, Coach.
Hey, my pleasure. I got drenched again.
Congrats on the win. We'll start with just your opening thoughts, and then we'll take some questions from the group.
Well, opening thoughts. I mean, first of all, hats off to UCONN, man. They battled all the way to the end for 40 minutes. They were a little bit shorthanded tonight, obviously. We know what that's like. We've been there, but they played their butts off, and so hats off to them. But by the same token, I really thought tonight, especially after that initial 10-0 run of the game, I thought we were really, really good at both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively. That's about as good a defense as we've played. So, for a good portion of this game, and then add the last game, the last quarter and a half, we've really shown that we can be a defensive team as well. So really good effort, really proud of them. We showed a lot of heart and character. We executed well. This was a really good win, you guys. UConn is the standard by which every program is judged over the last 25 or 30 years. And to beat them anytime, regardless of the circumstances, is always a feather in the cap of your program.
Thanks. We'll start with James. Zach, you'll be next.
Kelly, what's the initial word on Niara, and how much in the last 5 minutes there when she's out is just what's going through your mind and the general concern for her? And, it kind of dampens things, I'm sure, a little bit.
Yeah, it does. As loud as that place was at times tonight, it got really quiet there for a couple of minutes. I think she's going to be fine. You never know on those things. She's not with a doctor right now, so that's a good sign. Just something she's had to live with. Kind of each and every day she gets it tweaked. There's a little swelling. She just shows a lot of heart and keeps showing up and keeps doing it. So I'm just hopeful that she's well, and that it was just kind of a scare more than anything.
Zach, go ahead.
Coach, 4 points and 6 boards for Kylie Watson, but she had the highest plus minus of any bench player. Can you speak to just how important she was to your success tonight?
I'm glad you brought that up. I thought Kylie was terrific tonight, and she's been practicing well, and some games just work better for her. We knew we were going to need her tonight because they had such a formidable front line, and she came in and delivered. I'm really happy for her. She gives us energy, got a few key rebounds too in that third quarter and fourth. So yeah, good for Kai. We need it. And I think this weekend overall, even though we kind of played a little small ball over the last couple of weeks, I think our bigger lineup actually was the most effective for the weekend. And so that's good. If Kai continues to play like that, then that gives us some depth inside.
Eric Scopa, you're up. Aaron, you'll be next.
Coach, your thoughts on Tahina's play, not just today, but the last 3. I think 22 points per game in those 3, shooting over 50 from the field and from 3. It seems like I know this is the level you expect her to play at, maybe at her best. Kind of speak to how she's gotten to this point, I guess.
Well, through hard work and a belief in herself. I mean, she's, still not 100%, but boy, she plays with a love of the game and passion, and she's obviously very skilled. And I just love her confidence. I mean, she knows she's a great player, and she's going out and proving it. Certainly proved it this weekend against 2 top 10 teams, combined for 46 points on really good shooting. And more than that, really great leadership. How many assists did she have tonight? She had 3 assists, but only 1 turnover. And she's been the Tahina that we were hoping and expecting, and obviously missed for a couple of months.
Aaron, you're up. Andrew, you'll be next.
Yeah, Coach, you played a lot of 3-2 zone today. What did you like about that?
Well, it kind of, they kept posting us up on, their Ducharme on our smaller guards. We do have some smaller guards, and that kind of hurt us. And it just seemed like we were able to scramble more. I think we're better when we're just active with our hands and our feet and running around and making things happen. We're long inside, so we get a lot of tips. and it was just working. You know, they didn't have obviously all their dead eyes playing tonight, and sometimes they had to go with a bigger lineup with less shooters. And so we just felt that that our zone would give them some trouble, and it did for a good portion of the game.
Andrew, you're up. AJ, you'll be next.
I don't want to force you into any comparisons here, Kelly, but even among your big three and top players you've had in the past, there's just seems to be something different about Tahina, from like her bag, her first step, the moves that she has. I mean, have you had a player like her where that's just instant offense at any point? If you fall in a 10-0 hole, you know she can get you out of it?
Well, I've been blessed to have coached two of the greatest we've seen in the college game, and Sabrina and Courtney Vandersloot. You know, I would put Tahina, not yet, but I think Tahina has the same kind of ability to put herself in that conversation with them. She just has supreme confidence in herself and in her teammates. And, you know, and she's, you know, when she's on, she's an electric player. She can shoot it. I'd still like to see her, you know, set others up a little bit more, but man, I'll tell you what, she's just got the it factor, you know, game on the line. You know, she's the one you want the ball in her hand. She's going to make a play. That's what we were missing for quite a while. It's just someone that could make plays. And she's showing, she certainly showed this week. I don't know if she'll get player of the week because we had split games, right? But that's somebody who earned it this week.
AJ.
I know. Oh, sorry. Kelly, I know hindsight is 20/20, but how do you balance knowing that this is UConn? They can make a run at any point, regardless of how much of a lead you guys have, with making sure you take your starters out and give them a rest, especially after an OT win on Saturday. How do you balance that, especially with knowing what happened with Niara?
Yeah, you know, AJ, that's one of the reasons I'm really proud of this team. To have that emotional overtime win, the comeback, the game-winning shot, and then to follow that up 2 nights later and play UConn. I mean, to be able to compartmentalize, you know, the way they did and put that past them and move on, I think shows some real maturity for what's still a pretty young team. And so that listen, kudos to them for that. I think, you know, this was an enormous weekend. This hopefully puts us back in the national discussion as a team to be reckoned with. You know, these are 2 quality wins. And, you know, I think people had kind of forgotten about us for a while, and rightfully so. But really, if you look at our schedule, this was the 4th game we've played against last year's Final Four teams. We played every single one of them. Doesn't happen very often. And we ended up going 2-2 in those games. So we're still a work in progress. We're nowhere near as good as we can be, but we're going to keep trying to get better.
Jared, you're up. Michelle Vopel, you'll be next.
Hey, Kelly, I think at one point in the second quarter, Sedona had 10 straight points. I think she had 12 total in that quarter. Just, I mean, how much of an impact is that when she's really clicking like that?
Well, huge, because you see she's not just productive, you know, she's kind of a cheerleader out there too. She talks, she organizes us, she gets the crowd involved. She had a hell of a weekend, you guys, and I think we got to see glimpses of how good she can really be. She's done well coming off the bench. That hasn't been an issue with her at all. She's bought into it and really given us a spark. So I'm really happy for her. There's a lot of pressure on that young lady. Everybody knows her. Everybody wants a piece of her. She's got her detractors out there, and she's got those that love her. So a lot of eyeballs on her, and for her to deliver in these kind of moments, especially tonight on a national TV stage, I think shows what kind of a character-filled young lady she is.
Michelle, you're up. Aiden, you'll be next.
Yeah, Coach Graves, Michelle Vopel with ESPN.com. I was wondering, you know, throughout this journey that this season's already been for you guys, with everything that's happened, what's it been like in terms of keeping the team's spirits up? And if you could maybe talk a little more, you mentioned earlier just the coming back from such an emotional game against Arizona. That game got a lot of attention, you know, because of it wasn't very friendly afterwards. I wonder if you could just address that and how you think that impacts the team going forward.
I don't know which part of that, Michelle. I think whatever happened after, I think it's kind of been blown up, to be honest with you. I don't think it was anything more on either side that competitors do. You know what I mean? We compete, and sometimes that's not always pretty. But no, I think that was kind of blown out of proportion. What was the first part of that, Michelle? I'm not that bright. I'm getting older, as you know. I just turned 59. So you got to give me one at a time.
That's okay. I'm not too far behind you, so I totally understand. How have you kept the team's spirits up at times this season?
Yeah, well, I'm blessed with a team that really likes each other. This is a really close unit, even though we have a lot of people, new faces. We're actually a really close unit off the court. They're really nice kids, good students, good citizens, and they get along and love each other. So that makes it, that's the only way you can get it done. And plus, I think we've been able to kind of talk about, you know, hey, there was the first part of the season, and now this is the next phase. This, you know, we're getting healthy. We're getting all our players. Roles have been changed a little bit, but they're starting to be defined. I look at, in that case, someone like Shania Pinto. She's not playing as much right now as she did early in the year, but she's coming in and really giving us a lift. She was huge the other night against Arizona, big again tonight. Elise Hurst, her role has changed. She was leading us in minutes until we got India and Tahina back, and now she's gone into a lesser role, but she proved her worth tonight. Great defense and hit some timely threes. So, you know, again, I'm not sure we're going to see our best until maybe sometime into February and March, because we're still growing. But I think their closeness as a unit, I think, has been able to really sustain us through what has been some difficult times.
Great. Thank you so much.
Just a couple more for you, Coach. We'll go to Aiden, then James will be last.
Hey, Coach, great win tonight. You know, besides obviously Niara unfortunately going down at the end, this is one of the first games you really had your entire squad available. How did that affect the game? And, you know, having everyone available, everyone being able to play, was that a big part of the win, do you think, tonight?
Yeah, no question. It gives us options, you guys. I think you've been able to see over the last couple of weeks in Pac-12 that we can play with a smaller lineup, spread people out. Against Cal, we make 14 threes playing that way. And then we've been able to, you know, go with a bigger lineup, play more power basketball. We've been able to isolate different players at different times when we have matchup advantages. I thought you saw that Saturday against Arizona with Niara especially. And then I think you're seeing Sedona a lot more comfortable and maybe less pressure on her shoulders now that Niara's back. She can kind of play where she's comfortable. That's facing the basket. And so I think you just kind of putting people in the positions that they were recruited for, and it's just helped. So, you know, I think it's just natural. It's a natural progression. We just got to keep getting better. You know, keep getting better.
James, you'll be the last one.
Kind of following with that, Kelly, on the big picture, you're one of 6 teams to pick up a third top 25 win with this one. And also that you guys have found a bit of an identity here. And you mentioned like it's a changing of roles. So how do you keep everyone bought in with it, where, I mean, you got 2 transfers in Shannon and Taylor who didn't even play tonight. And I'm sure they very much wanted to. And players who were taking bigger roles when guys were out, and Maddie and Kylie who contributed but are in much lesser roles. But it seems like obviously there's a lot of success on the floor. Doesn't seem like people are taking issue with it. But at the same time, how do you keep them on board with that the rest of the way?
Well, you know, that was part of the deal when we recruited them, to be honest with you, James. They came in from programs that weren't quite as good, didn't play on this kind of a stage, and they were the major piece, right? They were the best player, or what everything rolled around. And so what we told them is, that's nice. You've experienced that. Now come be a piece. Come be a piece of something that could be really special. A team that can, you know, win games in the NCAA tournament. Who knows how far we can be. So that was part of the recruitment process. We didn't promise anybody playing time coming in, but that also shows how unselfish they are and the kind of people that they are. They're going to be supportive of their teammates and fill whatever role. Listen, there's going to be a night when we're going to need them. You know, who would have figured that Shania Pinto comes in the other night and is as big a factor as she was, or Filipina. Filipina came in and gave us a couple of great possessions tonight. So you just never know when your number's called. You got to be ready and be able to contribute. So I'm hopeful that and confident that that's going to happen with them at some point.
Thank you, Coach. I'll do it for you.
All right, thank you guys.